Hey friends on internet land, this is Ed Horak coming to you on the subject of God's abundance of grace and the faith that He gives us as His gift. A lot of people talk about faith and the need that we need to have of faith, because without faith it's impossible to please God and so on. And so, the pressure is on to exercise faith. We've got to increase our faith, and if we have little faith, then we're not going to receive much from God and so on. And, it just kind of takes the focus off Jesus, who's the author and the developer of our faith. So I want to talk to you a little bit about shifting the focus back on Jesus Himself, that when we behold His glory, we're transformed, and faith is a natural byproduct of that gift that God gives to us. We just respond to His grace, and it's almost effortless, if you can put it that way. So, let me just say this at the outset, that by grace, through faith, we are saved. And that's not of ourselves, it's a gift of God. It comes to us as a gift as we hear His word. For faith comes by hearing, and hearing the word of Christ. And so, as an illustration, the woman with the issue of blood, she had a problem. She was under the law. She was functioning under the law, and she wasn't getting better. She was visiting all of the physicians of the day that were functioning under the law, and she just got worse. The things that they were requiring her to do, her own efforts were just getting nowhere. So she fortunately, in the community that she was living in, heard about Jesus. That's what the Bible tells us in Mark chapter 6, that she heard about Jesus. Now, she obviously heard something about Jesus that was radically different to what she was hearing about the law and what was provided for under the law, as they understood it in those days. And so when she heard about Jesus, she was propelled to go into His presence and press through the crowd against the laws of Moses, and touch the hem of His garment. And we know the rest of the story goes on to say that the power of God flowed out through him, touched her, and she was healed of her infirmity. And Jesus turned around and said, "Who touched me?" And so, we have an incredible account of how, when she had heard about the person of Jesus and how He was demonstrating and manifesting the will of God through His life and ministry, it just radically transformed things. And Jesus turns around and says, your faith has something to do with it. But the faith came to her almost effortlessly because she had just heard about Him. She wasn't now focused on her own efforts, but she was focused on Him and what He was willing to do and was doing in the community at that time. So it's very important for us to shift our focus off our own efforts, maybe willpower, as it were, and say, I've got to get faith, and what must I do to get faith? Maybe I should go to church more often. Maybe I should read my Bible some more. Maybe I should pray some more, or whatever it is. And, the pressure is on to kind of conjure up something that's going to twist God's arm, if you can put it that way, to deliver on His promises. Whereas, the Bible does teach us that He delights in our well-being and prosperity, spirit, soul, and body. And it's, He's not withholding anything from us as we walk uprightly before Him. And to walk uprightly before Him is to respond to His grace. By grace, we are saved or made whole through faith. And that faith is not of ourselves. It comes when we just behold Him. The Bible says in 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 18 and 19, thereabout, that when we behold Him, we are transformed. And whether we behold Him through the Scriptures, or whether we behold Him through a ministry of the Spirit, or whatever it is, when we behold Him, we are transformed. And as this woman beheld Jesus, she was transformed. She received her healing. So that's just a little neat example of the focus that we need to have in this whole business of grace and faith. Keeping our eyes on Jesus, the author and the developer of our faith. He's the one who originates it. He's the one who delivers it to us and even helps us to receive it. And so it's really neat. It takes the pressure off us, and it just puts it on His love and His mercy towards us. So just a couple of thoughts in that regard. I hope this blessed you.